all the 10 plagues that was all involved with that. And we'll start at Exodus chapter 13, verse 17. It says, "And it came to pass when Pharaoh had let the people go, that God led them not through the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For God said, lest peradventure the people repent when they see war, and they return to Egypt. But God led the people about through the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea, and the children of Israel went up harnessed out of the land of Egypt. And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had straitly sworn the children of Israel, saying, God will surely visit you, and ye shall carry up my bones away hence with you. And they took their journey from Succoth, and encamped in Etham, and in the edge of the wilderness. And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light to go by day and night. He took not away the pillar of the cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night, for before the people." So we see that the Lord was not only getting them out of slavery, getting them out of Egypt, getting them out of where they weren't supposed to be, but he was leading them in getting there. But I also want to draw your attention, you don't really see anywhere where it says there that they actually stopped to take a break. The idea was they weren't supposed to stop. If you were running away from Pharaoh and his armies, would you really want to stop? That's why God said, I will light your way all night and day. So there is a lot of discrepancy I have learned as I have studied this, but Alexis, if you do HDMI 1, hopefully it'll go on there. I found a couple maps. Oops, not the camera. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, anyway. All right. So, as it said there in chapter 13 at the end, it started talking about Succoth, where it started on the left-hand side of the screen. Hopefully everyone can kind of see the white line. What? You good? That's the best I can do, sorry. Anyway, there's some people that say that they actually went straight down along the shore over here, and some people believe that when they crossed the Red Sea, it was actually over to the left there. That's not right. I've seen that quite a bit. Anyway, the idea was that to get over to the Promised Land, to get where they were supposed to be, you'd make a straight beeline straight across, and you wouldn't have to cross any water. Well, in the studies, it showed that if you can see there at Etham, they take a hard right turn. That was the Lord guiding them in that direction. But if I were to pull up a big map, hopefully you can see the squiggly line. If I can show you a video sometime, I will, because that was the best thing I found. The guy actually zoomed in, and there's an actual line through the valleys of the mountains, of the wilderness, where they went to this place called Nuevo. Anyway, you can see that today. I think my next picture, no, I didn't get a picture, but, that is a lot better, isn't it? Anyway, where it crosses this body of water, this finger that comes off the ocean, the Red Sea there, there's a somewhat of a small peninsula. It's there today. You can look it up, Nuevo. It's got a weird spelling. Anyway, there is a huge area for, you would call it kind of like a shipyard, where a lot of people can come in, and they could basically, if there were ships around, they could board it, and it could hold a few million people, is what the studies show. But anyway, that is the area where they would cross. As I said earlier, it would make sense to go up further north, but that's not what the Lord wanted. Some people say that they come down further south. Some people, anyway, if the Lord had them cross in 3 inches of water, then it was, what a miracle it was to make the Egyptians drown in 3 inches of water. That's always a funny thing that people say. But if as we read the Bible, you see that there was walls up next to them, walls of water, so it couldn't just be 3 inches. It had to be a decent amount. It actually talks about the depth and things like that as you study. So they did cross quite a path. I believe it was. I could be wrong. I had it in my mind, but it was. I can't believe that crossing was like 10 miles across there. Anyway, there's a lot of discrepancy about where it goes, who has it there, but we know that they crossed the Red Sea on dry ground, which is what we're getting ready to go into. And not to spoil it, but I wanted to get to that because it's so exciting. So you can turn that off now, Lex. All right. So even in my Bible that I've got right here, they show that it was up further north. But anyway, they crossed the Red Sea. All right. Now, chapter 14, in verse 1, it says, "The Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they turn and encamp before Hatheroth, between Migdol and the sea, over against Baal-zephon. Before it shall ye be encamped by the sea. For Pharaoh will say by the children of Israel, Say of the children of Israel, they are entangled in the land. The wilderness hath shut them in." If you would look at the plan there and their path, it would look like they were kind of cornered, that they didn't know what they were doing. In all honesty, they really didn't know what they were doing. They were going by the guidance of a pillar of a cloud and a pillar of fire by night. That's where they were going. I'm not sure if they had compasses back then, but I don't know what they all had. But I know they didn't have Google or maps or anything like that we've got today. So anyway, God's positioning system. I've never heard of that. Astrolabe? Yeah. Right. Okay. I'm glad you all got answers for me. No? Well, there's that too. All right. You guys got me. Anyway, verse 4. "And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he shall follow after them, and I will be honored upon Pharaoh and upon all his host with the Egyptians, may not that I am the Lord." And they did so. Basically, the Lord said, Pharaoh will follow after you. After all, what stopped him before? But there is something that is going to stop them, and it's going to be the pillar of fire, to be able to keep the distance between them and the children of Israel, the Israelites. Verse 5, "And it was told the king of Egypt that the people fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and of his servants was turned against the people, and they said, Why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? And he made ready his chariots, and took his people with him. And he took 600 chosen chariots, and all the chariots of Egypt, and captains over every one of them. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued after the children of Israel, and the children of Israel went out with an high hand. But the Egyptians pursued after them all the horses and the chariots of Pharaoh and his horsemen and his army, and overtook them encamping by the sea beside Pihatheroth, before Baal-zephon." If you think about it, you got people running by feet, running by foot, people running by going by chariots. Who do you think is going to win? The battle definitely looks like a total give up. Verse 10, and when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them, and they were sore afraid. And the children of Israel cried out unto the Lord. And they said unto Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt thus with us to carry us forth out of Egypt? That's kind of a funny reaction of them. Was there not enough room to bury us in Egypt? So you're just taking us out here in the wilderness to bury us? After all, you got to remember, Moses was put in this position. Moses, he's just following the Lord's direction as well, and the Lord's commands. In some way you can say it's the God guiding the blind to lead the blind. So Moses was just doing what he was told, but yet he's going to be the go-in-between, the blame, the one to put all the blame on. And so he has to deal with some of these things. Verse 12, is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. They had basically all given up. And if you look at that, continuing on from their time, that is kind of an attitude that they had all quite a while. They gave up so easy. Verse 13, and Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still and see that the salvation of the Lord, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. That is a total faithful saying that Moses had in the Lord, knowing that the Lord has delivered us to this point, and the Lord is going to deliver us in some way or another. Verse 14, the Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. And the Lord said unto Moses, wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. Moses went to the Lord and said, Lord, here's what I've told them, so what's really going on, Lord? What are you doing standing here? Go out and keep going. In other words, I haven't told you to stop yet. I haven't told you what's next to do. Just keep following me. But verse 16, but lift thou up thy rod, and stretch out thine hand over the sea, and divide it, and the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. For us, we can believe that. For Moses, are you crazy? You want me to lift my rod that turned into a snake? Well, there's one thing about that did all these other things, but you want me to lift that up, and supposedly something's going to happen where we're going to cross over on what are you going to do? How is this going to happen? Splitting water does not make sense to anyone. We've never seen it. You've all probably seen that little cartoon where baby Moses had to split the water for his sibling where he fell on... No? Okay, never mind. They were taking a bath together or in the swimming pool, and Moses split the water, and his brother couldn't swim anymore. Anyway, I thought it was funny. But anyway, Dan, you've seen it. Yeah, go fishing with them. Yeah, go fishing. That's what it was. They were fishing. And Moses had water, and the other one had dry ground. Anyway. Okay, you guys are bad. All right. So Moses did not really understand what was going to happen. But again, it took faith to do what Moses did. But he was called to lead the people. And the people had to see a faithful leader, and the Lord was using him in this. In verse 17, and I, behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them, and I will get me honor upon Pharaoh, and upon all his host, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen, and the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, when I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. And the angel of God, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them, and the pillar of cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. Now, at this point, if you were running away as a huge group of people, if you were running away from someone, you could see them on this side, and on this side, the direction that you're supposed to be going is all water. You're caught. You're in a big problem. In other words, you're either going to die or you're going to die. Which way are you going to take it? You're going to drown? Or, 10 miles is a long way to swim. And the Red Sea, anyway, the Lord got the children of Israel to a position where there was nothing that they could possibly do on their own. God got Moses to where he could do nothing on his own. God got all of Israel to the place where he needed them, and he needed their full faith. But not only that, but he showed that he directed them, but yet we see there that the pillar of cloud went from in front of them to behind them. Why do you think he went behind them? Well, it was to light the way, but not only that, but what did it do? It kept Pharaoh from getting too close. Horses are not going to run into a big burning flame wall for anything. You're just not going to do that. And how wide was it? However wide it needed to be. So therefore, that was a miracle in itself, number one. But not only that, but can you imagine the people actually said what they said to Moses? Did you just bring us out here because you just want us to die in the wilderness? After all, look what all God has done for you, showed you what he can do. He's led you to this point, and how he's leading you. For us, it's history, but for them, it was, it's real life for them at the moment. But here they are. It's either death or death. So you must rely upon someone. Same way with all of us. We get to a point where we just got to realize that there is nothing more that we can do. It's either death or death. It's either surrender or death. And so, in verse 20 it says, "And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel, and it was the cloud of darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these, so that one came not near the other all the night. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided." I know that you've all heard this story before, but every time I read it, I just wonder what the people were actually thinking when they saw what they saw. He divided the waters, and not only that, but hopefully you've seen people scoop out ponds and things like that. It's muck, nasty muck that does not dry out. And so therefore, how can it be dry where they are? Well, the Creator did it, number one, but he had to dry it out. He had to do all of that, but yet, that's what God promised. Not only the children of Israel, the millions that were there, not only that, but also Moses seeing what had happened, the splitting of it all. But yet, that is a great miracle for people to see, but yet, there's a miracle that we can see today that is far better than that. And that is an example through salvation. When one person gets saved, God saves them from their sin. God saves them and takes them out of that position and puts them in a new position. This is a great miracle for the people that they got to see, but yet to see the Lord save someone and change them is another great miracle that we still get to see today. And the children of Israel, verse 22, "And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left." As I said, I don't know about 3 inches. There's no way 3 inches could really be a wall. It would have to be a wall on the right hand, on the right hand and on their left hand. I don't know. I'd like to know who the first person was that took that step. Anyway, verse 23. "And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them to the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen." You notice they didn't really pay any attention. I don't think they paid any attention what was really going on. Did they actually see the water splitting? I don't know, but they didn't have any problem with going in right behind them. All they saw was dry ground. Verse 24, "And it came to pass that in the morning watch the Lord looked unto the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of the fire and the cloud, and troubled the host of the Egyptians, and took off their chariot wheels, and they drave them heavily, so that the Egyptians said, Let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fighteth for them against the Egyptians. Finally, they're coming to their senses. Oh, but a little bit too late. Verse 26, And the Lord said unto Moses, Stretch out thine hand over the sea, and the waters may come again upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots, and upon their horsemen. See, God's salvation was going through the waters, on dry ground, through safety, but then the final judgment was coming back down and crashing everything from that point on. In verse 27, And Moses stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to his strength when the morning appeared, and the Egyptians fled against it, and the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea, not one of them alive. And the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen and all the hosts of Pharaoh, and it came into the sea after them. There remained not so much as one of them. But the children of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. Thus the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. And Israel saw that great work which the Lord did upon the Egyptians, and the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses. So we see the Lord did quite a miracle for his children. Again, you don't mess with the Lord's people, you don't mess with his children. But not only that, but we see the example that he gave to us of the saving through the Red Sea, and the judgment. But again, looking at they were out of options. It was either surrender or die. And when the Lord made a way, as always, the Lord will make a way. Make sure you take the way, because even though it doesn't seem like a real good way, it's the best way to go. And the Lord prepared the way. So, and as there's through more studies, they've also showed that there's chariot wheels and this and that, things that definitely don't line up, that definitely line up for the timeline that they would show. There's all kinds of things that you can watch and see, but as they went through that, it's real, and I do not believe it was only through 3 inches of water. I believe that the Lord actually brought the waters apart. And it was a miracle. It was something magic. I mean, not magic, but a miracle to see, something miraculous to see. But again, as I said, salvation is a miracle in itself, to see what God can do through us, through his only begotten Son. So, Lord willing, I don't know where we're going to be yet on Sunday night. I don't know if I'm going to take a break from that or what, but just be praying about that, or I may just switch it to a little bit, just one certain night. So anyway, we're going to just pray for that, and don't forget to pray for all those that are sick. Brother Terry, he was a little tired this evening. The weather got quite a few people down, so just pray for all those. And we will close tonight with a word of prayer. So let's all stand, and we will be dismissed with prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, as we come to you tonight, we thank you for the words you gave to us and the promises, Lord, that you had given to your people to be able to learn from them and follow them. And Lord, just a reminder for us to know, Lord, that you do keep your promises. And even though, Lord, sometimes it seems like in our mind, in our eyes, there is no way, Lord, that something like this could happen. But Lord, you come through, Lord. You are the great, you are the miracle worker, Lord. You are the one who can do anything, Lord, that needs to be done. So, Father, I pray you help us to look at this and be reminded of your great mercies, Father. Lord, we love you, and we thank you for all that you've done for us. It's in your blessed name we pray. Amen.